The Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin, is enjoying its newfound glory as it solidifies its footings as Canada's sports car series. The Triple M threat, known as the Multimatic Mustang, driven by Marco Signoretti, has dominated GT4 competition, while the hotly contested TC Canada class has showcased immense talent. Now, the Sports Car Championship Canada Series, presented by Michelin, returns to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as this legendary track celebrates 60 years of racing. Welcome to the Grand Prix of Ontario. I'm Dave Bradley, along with Mr. Kyle Marcelli, one of this nation's shining motorsport stars, and of course, Todd Lewis is trackside. Kyle, with 4 races remaining, we are seeing the championship start to play out.
Yeah, Dave, Marco Signoretti has crushed the competition in GT4 this year, but now Multimatic has pulled a second Mustang off the trailer, and it's piloted by Zachary Vanier, a great Canadian talent in sports car competition.
It'll be interesting to see if Vanier can give Signoretti a run for his money. In TC Canada competition, we look at the points, and Travis Hill in the Shopify Audi has made a mid-season push for the crown. LP Montour has kept pace throughout the 8 races. And then, of course, there's the triple threat of the Atrell boys, who always play a factor here at the old Motorsport circuit.
And now we see a return of both Marco Cironi and Tony Martella as they come back from crashes that kept them out due to medical reasons. The best line guys will have them back in great form.
So we have 8 races in the books. Let's see how they've played out in the inaugural season of the Sports Car Canada competition, presented by Michelin. It opened at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and in the GT4 class, dominated by the Multimatic Ford Mustang of Marco Signoretti for rounds 1 and 2. In TC Canada, Marco Cironi took charge, and he claimed both wins. In July, the series returned to CTMP, and Signoretti returned to find form, dominating the GT4 class in rounds 3 and 4. The TWOth team showed up ready to race, and Travis Hill sped to his first win of the season in his Audi in round 3 of TC Canada competition, while LP Montour powered his Volkswagen to a round 4 TC Canada win. The start of August, the series arrived at Calabogie Motorsport Park, and it was all TWOth Motorsports who dominated in TC Canada competition. Travis Hill won on Saturday, while Nick Loymans used his home track knowledge for the win on Sunday. The Ford Mustang of Marco Signoretti showed his dominance once again in the GT4 class, winning both rounds 5 and 6 at the Ottawa area racetrack. Rounds 7 and 8, hosted by Circuit Icar, the North Montreal area airport circuit, was once again school in session for the Mustang of Signoretti, while the Audi of Hill took both wins in the TC Canada class. And here we are again at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, a good field of race cars, and let's take a look at how they stack up. The GT4 class will have Marco Signoretti and Zachary Vanier. Then we get back to the TC Canada class, and we find Travis Hill and Bob Atrell in row number 2. Row number 3 is Marco Cironi in the 82, LP Montour in the 45, and then row 4, Matt Clark making his first start ever in a car with a roof on it. Connor Atrell behind the wheel at the 80. Quinn Atrell is in the other Hyundai in the 86, and Eddie Colleen drives the 37. Nick Loymans in the 15, Tony Martella, they make up row number 6, and that is the field for today's event.
These drivers are making their way around the racetrack for a single formation lap, looking to build heat in those tires and brakes before taking the green flag.
Let's take a look at our Hyundai race analysis for the day. It is a cloudy day here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but a 40-minute timed race.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. 3.9 kilometers, 10 turns. This is a fast race circuit. You know, these drivers know it well. They've been here before. 40 minutes, so that's a long race. They're going to take care of their equipment. And the cool temps, I expect we'll see some lap records today.
Yeah, for sure. And important in this race, too, it is a sprint race despite the length, so no scheduled pit stops over the course of this event. But you can see they're trying to get as much temperature into these Michelin tires as they possibly can, weaving back and forth. How important is that as you dive into turn 1 to have confidence in those tires?
Oh, it's super important, and nice job by the safety team here to keep the speeds up. You know, it's common that sometimes the speeds are just too low and you can't get the temps, but they're doing a nice job here as they work their way up the Mario Andretti straightaway. Coming around turn 8 now, getting ready to take the green flag.
This is where the butterflies start to build for all of these drivers. You see a pair of Multimatic Ford Mustangs on the front row. Marco Signoretti and Zachary Vanier. Vanier's first time sitting in that car for a race here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He's been up to speed in practice and qualifying. But the big question today is, can he give Marco Signoretti a run for his money in this class? Signoretti has dominated all year, has yet to lose. Will today be the day we see a different driver atop step of the podium in GT4 as we go green, heading to turn number 1 for the first time?
Good start by both drivers on the front row. We see Vanier looking to hold the outside, but he tucks in behind Signoretti.
So one of the Audis on the inside, that was Nick Loymans, dove right down to the pit wall on that start, trying to gain as many positions as he could.
This opening lap is key. Drivers are going to try to take advantage of those cool tire temps and mistakes potentially from drivers ahead. This is where you want to capitalize and make up positions. Marco looks cool, calm, and collected as he just takes a glance in the mirror before turn 4.
What I love seeing about the TC Canada class, and you can see one of the Hyundais out in front, that is Bob Attrell in the 88. But look at how tight the rest of the field is, and that's something that we've seen every step of the way here in this TC Canada class. It is so hotly contested. Loymans looking to the outside of young Matt Clark. As we mentioned, this is Matt Clark's first ever drive in a sports car. He's familiar with open wheel cars, especially familiar with Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but this is a completely different animal. If you're jumping from a Formula Ford, from a Formula 1600, it's difficult to get your head around these cars, isn't it?
Sure is. Apples and oranges. I mean, front-wheel drive is probably the biggest challenge that Mac's going to have to deal with today, and managing those front tires. You know, you're asking a lot from the car when the front axle's doing all the majority of the braking and the steering and accelerating.
Now, we've talked that it takes a little bit different driving style, too, doesn't it? Especially turning into the corner to get these cars to work.
Yeah, I think the big thing with these front-wheel drive cars, again, just tire management and not being too aggressive on the throttle and really just carrying a lot of momentum into the corner, a lot of rolling speed.
Travis Hill in the Audi, sitting in second, chasing the 88 of Bob Attrell. Attrell in the Elantra and TCR class, the TC Canada class entry, but that is one of 4 Hyundai Elantras in Canada. And Bob Attrell at the wheel and giving it a good run here today, leading in class.
Yeah, this is a close battle here in TC Canada. You see the VW catch a bit of curb there through turn 8.
Bouncing the left rear or right rear tire, as a matter of fact, got way high in the air. It settles back down. I'm sure LP Montour very familiar with that feeling, but for the fans here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, very much a thrill. But the TC Canada class, top 5 drivers, all covered by a blanket in the early going. We'll take a quick break and be back with more. The 9th race of the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada Series, presented by Michelin, is brought to you by Michelin, a better way forward. By FAF, for the love of the road. And by Hyundai. Bob Attrell giving one of those Hyundais a great run at the front of the TC Canada class. We should mention Marco Signoretti and Zachary Vanier well out in front of this group. Almost 6 seconds the last time we crossed the stripe. However, the difference between those 2 drivers, less than a second.
Yeah, we see Bob Attrell getting a little bit loose off of turn 1. I think Travis Hill's got a bit more speed, just can't find a way by.
And that's what's difficult about these cars. Catching somebody is one thing. Passing somebody is a completely different story. As they see Marco Cerrone in the 82. Remember, he won twice here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park already in 2021, and he's in the hunt in third.
Marco's got a lot of experience, and he's, I think, in a position where he's just going to sit back and see what Travis has for a trail. Maybe he can follow him through. Still lots of time left in this race.
There you can see the two Multimatic Mustangs scream through on the Andretti straightaway as we follow this group of TC Canada cars. And the draft makes a big difference in these cars. They do punch a big hole in the wind, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. All around this circuit, we see, 4 manufacturers, inside the top 5.
Quick ride on board with Travis Hill.
Yeah.
And Hill looking to the inside. Turn number 10 presents an opportunity, but the door closes as quickly as it opened.
Sure did. I think he's got a trail looking in his mirrors right now. Again, ran a little bit wide through 9, and I thought he was going to have him in 10. But nice job by the drivers to give each other good racing room.
Yeah, there is a lot of respect in this class, both divisions really, actually. If you look at the TC Canada class as well as the GT4 class, there is great respect amongst the drivers.
And we see LP Montour looking to the inside of Cerrone. Looks like he's got some speed in that Volkswagen right now as well.
How about Matt Clark in that Blanchet Motorsports number 84, hanging on to the back of this group, so he is learning from the best. If you want to go to school and try to figure out how to move up in the sports car ranks, starting here in the TC Canada class is a good place to start, and he's learning from the best, definitely.
Absolutely. Max won in just about everything he's raced at this point, from karts to single-seaters, and now we see him here in a touring car. And, what better place to learn than Canadian Tire Motorsport Park? It's, someone like Mac, he's got a lot of laps here, so at this point he's got to learn a new race car, not a race track.
Yeah, absolutely. Youngest ever Formula 1600 Canadian champion. As a matter of fact, he beat Paul Tracy's record from 1985. Give you an idea, in 2020, 22 races, 20 podiums, 18 wins for Matt Clark. That's just how dominant he was in that season.
Wow. That looks like LP Montour running a bit wide off of 10.
That's the thing, is if you jump the curb on corner exit in turn number 10, there's an awful lot of dust out there, but the good news is there is a little bit of breathing room between the wall and the racing surface. So we continue under green. It's still a trail, the top in the TC Canada class. Welcome back to the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. We're at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, a track celebrating 60 years of racing in Canada. Just a great heritage track, and just a great track all around, because look at how close racing can get here in the TC Canada class.
Absolutely, and it's good to see a crowd back. I think the fans were itching to get back to the racetrack and watch some Canadian sports car.
And Kyle, you raced on this track a little earlier today in a NASCAR Pinty Series car. I'm looking around to some of the black marks, some of the repave, as we see Travis Hill jump to the outside. He's in that repave in turn number 3. He'll fall back in line behind a trail, but now make a vie for top spot. But does it give you that extra traction, that new asphalt?
It certainly does, and I thought Travis was actually going to make it work to his advantage there just now. We see Matt Clark braking way late, big lockup up the inside, but avoids contact again. Nice job to collect that.
That was big. He got in there fairly deep and the door closed, but potentially a flat spot on the tires. How easily is that done?
Yeah, I'm surprised to have seen the lockup, to be honest with you. These cars have ABS, an anti-lock braking system, so he must have really been in the pedal to lock it up there. But good job again to avoid any contact and keep us under green. Travis definitely has the speed here. Just trying to find a way by is another story. CTMP is a fast circuit and not a lot of heavy brake zones, and that's where you make the opportunities to get by. So he just needs to be patient, stay in the mirrors of the 88, and hopefully force him into a mistake.
It seems that the end of the Andretti straightaway is where that Audi is just a little bit better than the Hyundai of a trail in front of them as we ride on board LP Montour. Volkswagen in the field, the VW Golf. Just makes a really cool sound. Actually, all of these TC Canada cars make a really good sound. They sound like race cars, which is important.
Yeah, this top 5 is nose to tail. I think Latrell might be holding the pack up a little bit, but he's doing a great job. This is racing, and he's not going to make it easy.
Have a look at Travis Hill in his office. He's going to work now. Down that straightaway in the draft behind the Hyundai Elantra of Bob Latrell.
Very closely matched, too. That's great to see. You see just a little bit of a toe. He's sneaking up ever so slowly.
Oh, and there he goes to the inside once again. Now he does have a spot. That was almost an avoidance measure at the end of the straightaway, but the door stayed open. Travis Hill plugs it, so we have a new race leader. Here comes Cerrone to the inside.
Yeah, nice job by Hill. It didn't look like he was fully committed, as you said, Dave, but made it work, and Bob was heads up to leave the door. Mack actually finds a way through now into turn 1, so you see, all the action is shuffling its way down through the top 5 once something starts.
That's almost an accordion effect. Some contact between the 84 of Matt Clark and the 45 of LP Montour as they made side-to-side contact on the front straightaway. Cerrone still slides into that 3rd spot behind Latrell. Look at the gap, though, that Hill's been able to open up right away.
Yeah, I think Hill's got speed in that Audi, and he was just waiting to get by. We're going to see here now what Cerrone has for Latrell if he's able to find a way by.
We should mention, too, that Tony Martella has fallen a little bit off the pace here, unable to keep up with this pack as we see him down in 9th position now on the charts. He's further back. You can see a pair of Hyundais behind this group. That's the 2 Latrells coming through, just about to come into that screen as the 45 moves back to the inside of the 84.
Yeah, again, you see that inside rear wheel getting picked up on the Audi of Matt Clark. There goes Montour to the inside of 10.
That's a textbook pass in 10. And look at Leumans in the 15, the Audi. He started way at the back of the pack, and he's continuing his march to the front. So one of the fastest cars on the track is now in the thick of things. Leumans out of the Ottawa area in the 15, a teammate to your race leader in the TWOth Autosports. Audi is the race leader, is Travis Hill. He's your points leader coming into this one as well. Interesting story behind TWOth Motorsport, started by Travis and Trevor Hill, couple of brothers. Travis, the driver, he raced in the Rolex 24 series, and Trevor's the mechanic, so he does all the work on the cars. Travis does all the driving of the cars. They make a very good team, and they fit in really well into this FEL Sports Car Championship Canada.
Here we take a look at the 2 Multimatic Ford Mustangs. This team's the best in the business. It's good to see them here on Canadian soil running the Ford Mustang GT4. This has been a proven platform. It's been successful in IMSA competition, and great to see them here in the Canadian, the FEL Canada Sports Car Series.
And they are the overall race leaders, as Travis Hill, the leader in the TC Canada class. So the 2 Mustangs with a considerable lead. And you can see the lap times as we see the fastest laps laid down by Signoretti and Vanier, about a 1.5 seconds quicker than these TC Canada cars.
Yeah, these TC Canada cars, they make their lap time, on these momentum circuits. They don't have the torque and the horsepower that the GT4 cars have up front, but, on a circuit like CTMP, where their speed's high and momentum's kept, the delta's not that big.
Now they're all 4-cylinder, the TC Canada class, all 4-cylinder, all turbocharged engines, and of course, as you mentioned, all front-wheel drive, and they put on a great show. That's exactly what they're doing here today. Welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and the Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin. As we take a look at a couple drivers a little bit further down the running order, but still running very, very quickly, riding aboard with Connor Attrell right now in the 80 car. Connor driving one of the Hyundai Velosters, 350 horsepower, and somewhere under 1,300 pounds. So it gives you an idea of just how quick, how light and agile these cars are. And of course, we have the GT4 class cars at the front of the field, the Multimatic Ford Mustangs.
Again, we're looking at Marco Signoretti setting the pace up front, but let's talk about Zach Vanier here. He was very successful in the TC Canada class. This is the first time for him in a GT4 car, so a very different car to learn, rear-wheel drive, a lot more horsepower, a little more weight. Obviously a racetrack that he's familiar with, but he's doing a great job. We see the last time by just actually 1/10 quicker than Marco Signoretti, so that's impressive.
Yeah, he's cutting into that lead, and for the first time all season, Marco Signoretti is looking over his shoulder into that mirror, and he sees another car behind him. He hasn't had that push all season long, and Signoretti, talking to him earlier in the day, he says, I want that. I need that to get better as a driver.
Yeah, Marco impressed me when he first jumped in one of these cars in IMSA competition. Actually, let's look at Martella here in pit lane. Looks like he's got a problem.
Yeah, the car getting jacked up, so looks like his race will end early. Still just over 21 minutes left in this 40-minute timed race, and that's one of the TC Canada class cars out of this one. As we take a look back up at the front of the field, the 82 of Cerrone is giving everything he can handle to the 88 of Bob Attrell. Attrell not really running defensive at this point, but he is keeping the 82 at bay.
Yeah, it looks as though the pace has settled in. Maybe it took a little bit longer for the Michelins on that 88 car to come up to temp, but it looks like he's found a sweet spot now, and doesn't appear to be, the gap doesn't appear to be increasing to Hill. If anything, maybe this lap he might be pulling away from Cerrone. We see that top 5 spread out a little bit.
And Travis Hill was able to squirt out just a little bit initially after making that initial pass by Attrell, and now it seems to have settled down in the TC Canada class. LP Montour and now Nick Loymans round out the top 5 in that class. As you can hear the cars hitting the bumps in turn number 5 under braking.
LP getting pretty aggressive with those curbs. There in turn 5, we see the car hopping over the turn 5A apex.
Now we'll listen as he heads up the Andretti straightaway.
Coming into turn 8 here, super fast section of the racetrack, just a light brake and a downshift. Really quick in one of these TC Canada cars.
Yeah, you can see they actually stick pretty well, except for the 45 there, as I mentioned that. He did a nice drift through turn number 8, but this big wing on the back end of these race cars really plant the back end down, doesn't it?
Loose is fast, Dave, loose is fast.
Well, fast right now is Travis Hill, and the TWOth Motorsports Audi at the front of the field being chased by the Hyundai of Bob Attrell and another Audi of Marco Cerrone. And as we mentioned, one of the drivers who stopped along pit lane to get some service, now standing by with Todd. Todd?
Now there you can see the flat spot on that right front of the 24 of Tony Martella. The vibration got to be just too much for him. He made the stop along pit road. They're going to change that right front tire.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to to do that, and the driver will feel it right away, won't they, Kyle?
Oh, certainly will. I mean, especially in a front-wheel drive car and a fast race circuit like CTMP. Surprising, though, again, with the ABS system in these cars that we're seeing lockups.
Now, the Best Line Autosports group will get a new tire put on that one, and Martella will be back out to collect as many points as he can. Now, we should mention FEL has hired 2 racing ambassadors this year, sort of a liaison between the racers and the organization. Robin Buck and Peter Lockhart, both Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame inductees. And that's an interesting move when you're starting a new series, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic move, and sort of setting the bar really in the industry. We don't see much of that in motorsport, where you have 2 professionals, guys with experience, that can sort of liaison or delegate between the officials and the drivers. And so, great job by Chris to recognize an opportunity there and to fill that void.
Keeping the competition tight is exactly what that's doing, as we see the top 3 very close in the TC Canada class. Taking a look at this battle deeper in the TC Canada class. Now Matt Clark holding off the 2 of Trell's Connor and Quinitrell as we stay green here in the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin. No matter where you look, you're going to see action on this racetrack.
Yeah, I think these Hyundais were set up for late race performance. We saw just a few laps ago Bobitrell up ahead, about a half a second quicker than Travis Hill, and now we see, as you said, later, further back in the field, the 2 brothers here reeling in Matt Clark. So not sure what was up their sleeve, but they got these things tuned for the late race performance.
And they are putting their push in right now on board with Connor and Trell. Interesting, too, that all 3 Hyundais on track are all different models. Bobitrell driving the Elantra N, Connor Trell driving the Veloster N, and Quinitrell driving the i30N. All 3 different cars. Field is getting spread out just a little bit. We take a look at the best lap times. Marco Signoretti still about 0.2 of a second quicker than his new teammate Zachary Vanier in the 22 and 23, both Ford Mustangs in the GT4 class. Now the gap at the front of the field widening a little bit to about 2 seconds.
Yeah, it seems to ebb and flow here. All about just minimizing mistakes and being consistent is what it's going to take to win this race.
No doubt that Bobitrell is watching his mirrors as we're just over 15 minutes left in this 40-minute timed race, and Trell's mirrors have been filled with that lime green Best Line 82 of Marco Cironi, really for the last, I would say, 15 minutes. Kyle, I've noticed a couple of times you hear a couple chirps out of these cars. What's that? Is that brakes? What's going on? There it is.
Yeah, I think it's the blow-off valve on the turbo. I mean, that seems to me what we're hearing.
It's the sounds of power. It must be. As they head down this Andretti straightaway, again, not really close enough to take quite advantage of that draft until you look a little bit deeper in the field. Those 3 cars led by Matt Clark as LP Montour flashes through your screen. Nick Loymans now giving chase in the 15. Loymans is having a great run in that 15. We haven't mentioned that enough. Out of the Ottawa area. Again, started at the back of the pack, but he's really put on a charge here today.
Yeah, and really everybody in the field, has kept their nose clean. We've been green so far from the start of this thing, just 14 minutes to go.
On board, Travis Hill in the Shopify Audi. Not fighting that steering wheel too much.
No, it certainly looked very calm, smooth, and that's what it takes around this racetrack. It's not an aggressive circuit where, you need to overdrive the car. If anything, underdrive and focus on your entry speed. Lots of momentum is what's going to pay off.
Now, you see sometimes even your race leader is starting to lift up that inside rear tire. There he goes through turn 5. Does that affect your drive off? Does it affect the handling through the middle of the corner?
Yeah, I think it's through the middle of the corner, Dave. And you know, I don't have a lot of experience in a front-wheel drive race car, but you know, in my opinion, when you're picking up that inside rear wheel, the car is going to rotate a lot better and ultimately rotate sooner and allow the drivers to get on the throttle sooner.
Almost like setting up a go-kart. You used to try and get the rear end to lift up that inside tire just to get it to turn a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connor Attrell looking to the inside of young Matt Clark. Clark leaves that door open, but Attrell not quite there as Clark sweeps through, keeping up that momentum into turn 9. Turn 10 will be a good passing opportunity. Attrell, he'll close up, but not quite there, able to make that move to the inside.
Yeah, these Hyundais look strong right now, and you see what he's doing there going into turn 1, just little fakes to the inside just to get in the mirrors, and hopefully Mac will look up and maybe run a bit wide. You know, smart move there by Connor Attrell.
Now here he goes in turn number 3. You can see Clark to the inside, so he's going to run a little bit of a defensive line into turn number 3. It's going to pay off. Connor Attrell running the normal racing line will close up on the back bumper of the Blanchet Motorsports. Audi just ahead. Will he make a move in turn number 5? Not quite there, not able to dive to the inside, but now look, a pair of Hyundais chasing that Audi. Quinn Attrell is right in the tire marks of Connor Attrell. So now you have to think, if you make a move and that move goes badly, it may cost you a spot rather than gaining one.
You're absolutely right, Dave. I'd like to think that these Hyundais want to work together, though, and get past that Audi. We see Connor looking to the inside. Dave, that's 2 laps in a row. He's looked to the inside in turn 8, hasn't been able to make that move work.
And I mean, Connor Attrell, not necessarily a super veteran. I mean, he's just relatively new to this TC Canada class. Matt Clark in his very first race here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So Connor Attrell must be thinking, if I can fill his mirrors, maybe he'll make a mistake, maybe I can get by. The drivers of the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, presented by Michelin, putting on a show here today at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park on this historic 10-turn, 3.9-kilometer circuit. And it's been all Marco Signoretti who has led overall since the drop of the green in that Multimatic Motorsports Ford Mustang. But you can see his teammate, Zachary Vanier, is keeping him honest every step of the way. Travis Hill leads the TC Canada class. Bob Attrell, Marco Cironi round out the podium in that division. There's a good look at LP Montour, and the only Volkswagen in the field. And Montour looks as though he's lost check with that lead trio.
Yeah, Dave, 9 minutes to go. I'm not sure LP can close the gap without a caution at this point. I think we've got a 3-car battle for the lead in TC Canada.
There it is. You can see led by Travis Hill in the Shopify Audi. Then it's the Hyundai Elantra of Bob Attrell and Marco Cironi in the green and black, the lime green and black Audi. The number 82 rounding out the podium positions right now in the TC Canada class.
Yeah, Hill got a little bit loose coming off of turn 5, and Attrell's in the slipstream. It's ebbed and flowed this whole race, and it's fantastic to see, you know, 2 different manufacturers up front right now with Hyundai and Audi.
And you talked a little earlier about the Hyundais coming in late. We saw it with Connor and Quinn Attrell. Those cars seem to perform a little bit better in the later going of this race. It looks like the same thing is going to hold true for Bob Attrell.
I think you're right. We'll see if Bob's able to find his way back into the front of this field.
He led in the early going before relinquishing that lead to your points leader in Travis Hill, and Hill has held it ever since. As Kyle mentioned, under 10 minutes to go now in this 40-minute timed race as we ride on board Connor Luttrell in the 80.
See just a light brake back to full throttle, fourth up to fifth gear. Again, just a soft brake, lots of entry speed as we roll down through turn 2. And we touched earlier on this new pavement, lots of grip.
That must make you feel like Superman at times, but then when you miss it, and you can see some of the repaves are just little strips like in turn number 3. If you miss that strip, it's not the same, is it?
Yeah, these drivers are looking to get that loaded tire for sure on that fresh asphalt.
Brand new repave into turn 5, up around Moss Corner, and then on the entrance to the Andretti straightaways, we ride on board Travis Hill once again. So cool and comfortable as he goes into turn number 8, drops a couple gears and heads for the apex.
Yeah, this is a great fight up front. It's anybody's race at this point.
So now it looks like Cerrone is able to gather it up. It really is a race of inches. If you miss a turn and if you miss a braking point by just a little bit, then the other car is able to catch you. That's how close they are on time. And I guess that's the beauty of this TC Canada class, isn't it?
It sure is. You know, at this point in the race, it's, you know, as we touched on, just consistency and making no mistakes. You know, when the competition's so close, every 1/10 of a second counts. And, you know, you run wide of your apex by a foot, that's a 1/10 of a second.
You've been a driver coach as well, in addition to being a driver, world-class driver yourself, but how important is it to tell a young driver just to be consistent? Try and hit those same marks every single lap.
You know, at a certain point, that becomes the hardest part of the race. You're racing yourself, really. You know, you're watching your predictive lap times on the dash. You're trying to do the same thing lap after lap, and it becomes this mental challenge, you know, with yourself in the race car.
Right now, it looks like these three are not racing themselves. They're racing each other, and they're doing it quite hard as Luttrell is now closed up on your race leader. He is right there. Bob Luttrell chasing Travis Hill, Marco Cerrone in the other Audi just behind that Hyundai. But this race for the lead in the TC Canada class has closed up immensely.
You know, something we haven't touched on, these modern TC Canada race cars, they've got some good aero bits on the front of them, and on a fast race circuit like this, they might be struggling with a little bit of aero push as they get too close to the car in front. And that's just when you lose some grip on that front axle and you wash a little bit wide. It tends to overwork the tire, and you know, that's why we say catching a car is one thing, getting by is another.
And when you wash out a little bit, you build heat in those tires, so maybe that's why they're backing off a little bit, cool them down. Is that a possibility?
It's tough to say. I don't know if you... yeah, I don't think any of these drivers are in a position to back it off. But it's just tough to get by is really the point I wanted to get across. Yeah. You know, catching the car is one thing and finding a way past is another. And this is where, you know, you need to try to force that driver into a mistake. You need to show your nose and just hopefully he runs a little bit wide and you can set him up for the next corner.
Thing is, with all three drivers at the front of the field, all are veterans of sports car racing of various disciplines here in Canada. Of course, we have champions in Marco Cerrone. Travis Hill, of course, has run all over North America. So has Bob Luttrell, as we see Connor Luttrell now looking to the outside in this battle with Matt Clark.
This was a great example of the draft up the Mario Andretti straightaway. That Hyundai's got some good straight line speed to see if we can find a way by into turn 8.
Turn 10, he closes right up, now onto the front straightaway. He's got to run, and he gets alongside the Audi into turn number 1. He'll have the preferred line, but will he have the position? Matt Clark is going to hold it on the outside.
Oh, this is great door-to-door, side-by-side racing.
Now it's Matt Clark who has the preferred line into turn number 2, and he's going to say thank you very much, and he'll take away or maintain that spot over Connor Luttrell.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
Yeah. This is a great battle, a little deeper in the field in the TC Canada class. Going into turn number 4, you can see the downhill blind apex, and then they'll head back up the hill into turn 5A. And 5B trying to get that run down the Andretti straightaway. Matt Clark being a young driver, I know he's won a lot of races in Formula 1600s, Formula Fords, different disciplines, open wheel cars. How much will he be watching his mirrors knowing that Connor Luttrell is so close?
You know, I'm sure he's looking in his mirrors just about every race corner right now, but doing a great job, and, you know, a lot of respect and maturity being shown as these drivers go side by side.
How about this nose to tail at the front in the TC Canada class? There's LP Montour in the 45 and Nick Leumanson. There is that battle we were watching between Luttrell, Matt Clark, and again, Luttrell gets the run on the inside off of turn number 10. Matt Clark going to try and hang on outside once again, but it looks like Luttrell might be a little bit too strong this time. Into turn 2, he'll have the position.
Fantastic stuff. We saw Matt Clark really try to send it in on the outside of turn 1, get a little bit free going in. And I think that's what gave Connor the position on the exit. Now we see Quinn looking to do the same thing as we go to turn 4.
Yeah, for Matt Clark, his defensive driving days are not done because he's got another Hyundai looking to get around once again. But look, Matt Clark comes back on the offense. The best defense is a good offense, all right? So you go battle trying to get back around Connor Luttrell just ahead of you. There's Loymans go through your frame, and Connor Luttrell now up into 8th position around the 84 of Matt Clark. But this is at the front of the field. Bob Luttrell all over the back end of Travis Hill. We're under 2 minutes to go now. We won't see the white flag this time. Next time by, likely we will see the last lap flag. And Travis Hill will be happy to see it because Bob Luttrell has really been turning up the wick.
Yeah, he's been really strong in the second half of this race. And Marco Cerrone, he's there too. I think he's at a point where he's had enough of sitting back. He wants to get in on this battle.
Looking to the outside in turn 3. Bob Luttrell saw an opening. Travis Hill lifts that inside right rear tire. Watch, is Travis Hill watching his mirrors? Not yet. Into turn 5, couple downshifts. There he takes a quick look back. He'll see Bob Luttrell right there. And now just concentrating on hitting his shifts up the Andretti straightaway as Marco Signoretti comes through in the Multimatic GT4 Ford Mustang, and there it is, the white flag, last lap with Zachary Vanier in tow.
Yeah, we look at the last lap pace. Actually, the last 2 laps, Zachary Vanier has been quicker than Marco Signoretti. So, you know, great job by Zachary, his first time in this GT4 car, keeping Marco honest and staying right in his tracks.
Marco has been so good in that car all season long, has yet to lose a race, as one of the drivers got off in the dirt just ahead of your race leader. You can see cutting through the dust, no cars there, which is good news as we ride on board Zachary Vanier.
The gap just 1.6 seconds. Exiting turn 5, he's got a great run, but that's just a bit too much still to close in, I think, in the last 3 corners.
Vanier has done a little bit of testing in this car, but you can see as he gets more laps under his belt, he gets more comfortable and finds the limits of this car and able to push it a little bit further. So it'll be a joy to see Vanier for the rest of the go in the 2021 season. Travis Hill, though, continues to try and hold off a hard charge of Bob Luttrell as Marco Signoretti in the Multimatic Motorsports number 22 will head onto the front straight, and he'll see the checkered flag, the winner in the GT4 class. Here the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada presented by Michelin. And now let's look back to this battle in the TC Canada class. Hill will lead through turn number 8. Bob Luttrell is right there, and he's able to close a little in turn 9, but he's got Cerrone on his back bumper. No openings in turn 10, so the win will go to Travis Hill. And congratulations from the crew on the front stretch. Bob Luttrell and Marco Cerrone made this an enjoyable race to watch right from the start to finish.
There's Loymans coming across in 5th spot.
Connor Trell, you can see the gap he opened up over the 84 of Matt Clark, and it appears as though Quebec might have been the driver that kicked up that dust on that final lap. But celebrations in car from the 25 of Travis Hill and Marco Signoretti in GT4, as we'll be back and chat with your race winners. Welcome back. Another strong showing by the Multimatic team, and Todd is with them in victory lane. Todd?
Out of the car, unbuckled, and the helmet is off. Marco Signoretti comes away with another victory here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Your teammate this weekend gave you a pretty good challenge, especially in the early going there.
Yeah, no, it was good. Just wasn't sure how quick we were going to go. You know, didn't know if we were going to save tires a bit, but we ran fast-paced the whole time. So I was really happy about that. It was a lot of fun, good pressure, so it's good learning for me as well.
Another victory for Marco Signoretti here at CTMP.
A fantastic day of sports car racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We see Marco Signoretti with the win, Zachary Vanier in a close second, and Travis Hill with that TC Canada win.
That battle we were watching, 8th, 9th, and 10th overall. Connor Trell, Matt Clark, and Quinn Trell. They had a real dogfight pretty much the entire way. Todd is standing by with your TC Canada winner.
Let him get that helmet off and put the hat on, maybe take a quick drink, but Travis Hill, that was a fist fight at times out there, and you came out on top. What a battle.
Man, these TC Canada cars are awesome to race with. They punch a big hole in the air. Great to draft, nice and tight between multiple manufacturers. It's a fun place to race.
And a fun victory here when you come out on top in this one. Just tell me about the challenges and pressure you were feeling.
Well, Bob always comes off the starts really quick. I was expecting an attack really early, so he got that spot early on going into 2. Marco was next. I knew I needed to make a run around Bob pretty quickly before Marco started coming. So it was just push, get by him, and hopefully we can pull enough of a gap that if the tires started falling off, that they weren't going to get around. So fortunately, the plan paid off.
Plan worked, and Travis Hill is your winner in TC Canada.
Big smile and a well-deserved drink here in victory lane as we take a look at the point standings now in the TC Canada class, and Travis Hill opens up that gap over LP Montour.
That's right, Nick Loyman's there in 3rd, Connor Trell 4th, and Bob Trell rounding out your top 5.
The GT4 podium, also the winners overall today, Marco Signoretti, his teammate, Zachary Vanier. This SCCC race has been presented by Michelin, a better way forward. By FAF, for the love of the road. And by Hyundai. And there you can see the podium in the TC Canada class. But Kyle, we had a little bit of everything here today at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But what we saw a lot of was tight racing from start to finish.
We sure did. These drivers had us on our toes the whole time, didn't they? Especially in that TC Canada class.
Marco Signoretti had a teammate pushing him in the GT4 class for maybe the first time this entire season, but this was the dice that really took the cake in the TC Canada class.
Yeah, we saw it ebb and flow the whole time. A couple of big lockups as well, which kept things exciting. But those Hyundais came on strong late in the race, didn't they?
Yeah, they sure did, but strong from start to finish, those Multimatic Ford Mustangs, and Travis Hill once again showed why he is tops in the point standings in the TC Canada class with that move around Bob Trell, and he hung on for the entire race distance.
And we saw these drivers side by side, multiple laps. A great job by Matt Clark on his debut in a sports car.
3 more races here in the 2021 season. No doubt those are going to be just as great as this one. From all of us at Fuel Media Lab, we'll see you next time.